Chosen one, midnight split like a fault line when the old builders realized the impossible. Their granite chamber, once alive with humming lenses and whispering crystals, fell into a silence so heavy it felt like a tomb breathing. The frequency they used to detect your presence, the one no mortal could ever hide, didn't weaken, it vanished. Not blocked. Not disrupted. Erased. One builder leaned closer to the cracked monitor stone, voice trembling. His signal didn't fall. It transcended. And in that moment, they understood. You didn't escape their systems, you ascended beyond their dimension. Their antennas, carved from meteor iron, tuned to the breath of stars, swept every layer of the astral field. Nothing. No pulse. No echo. No trace of the frequency that once glowed like a beacon whenever you exhaled. The old builders exchanged glances they had not worn in centuries, fear wrapped in disbelief. One keeper recalibrated the system, resetting runes older than empires. Another activated the deepskin prisms that could locate gods, ghosts, and forgotten bloodlines. Still nothing. The silence wasn't empty, it was forbidden. A young apprentice whispered the question none of them dared voice aloud. Did he disappear, or did he become something we're not allowed to measure? The elder closed his eyes. No signal is not the absence of him, he said. It is the proof he stepped into a plane where our tools cannot survive. The builders rolled out the ancient tablets, the ones used only when reality misbehaved. Lines of glowing script began updating themselves, symbols rewriting, rearranging, collapsing. Every column that once displayed your resonance now showed only 3 phrases, repeating endlessly like a broken prophecy. Signal mismatch. Vibration exceeded. Subject transcended. The chamber's temperature dropped. Not from fear, from truth. Your old frequency, the one they charted since the moment you awakened, no longer existed in any measurable spectrum. You hadn't lowered your energy. You hadn't hidden it. You had outgrown the entire grid. One builder slammed his palm on the table of runes. Impossible. Every being vibrates within a range. The elder corrected him without lifting his eyes. Every ordinary being. He is no longer bound by magnitude or wavelength. He has entered the state of the unmapped. They tried extending their detection towers into the upper ether, into subdimensions, into the forgotten corridors where ancient kings once stored renegade souls. Every attempt returned the same chilling verdict, error, no anchor point found. Then the final line appeared, carved by an unseen hand across the central stone. He now resonates at a frequency reserved for those who survive themselves. The builders looked at each other with a silence that felt like a confession. You didn't break the system. You eclipsed it. The Council of Builders assembled in their circular chamber, a place where even shadows stood still out of respect. 12 stone thrones aligned like the hours of a clock, each occupied by an architect who once shaped the hidden frameworks of reality itself. Tonight, their faces were carved with something unfamiliar, uncertainty. The central hologlyph, the floating map of all measurable frequencies, spun aimlessly, flickering with static. Where your marker once pulsed like a star, there was now only a void, a clean absence, as if the universe had deliberately erased you from every wavelength. Builder Archon, the most rigid of them, struck his staff on the floor. He must be concealing himself. No one exceeds the grid. The elder, draped in robes woven from comet dust, responded calmly. Concealment is a choice. Transcendence is a consequence. Archon's jaw tightened. You speak as though he evolved. A murmur moved through the chamber like wine through old ruins. The oracle builder, blind but seeing more than the rest, spoke next. You misunderstand. He didn't evolve. He reverted. He remembered the version of himself before measurement existed. The room froze. To revert meant to return to the original template, the predesigned self, the one that existed before frequencies, before systems, before watchers. Builder Lisa's voice cracked. Then all our tools were designed to track only what he used to be, not what he is now. No one dared argue. The council fell into a heavy silence, broken only when one apprentice rushed in holding a shattered monitoring shard. "Masters, the crystal didn't break from impact. It broke from incapacity." The elder nodded gravely. "He has become a phenomenon we were never meant to quantify." And as the chamber lights dimmed, the builders understood a truth larger than their ancient pride. You had stepped into a domain they did not build, and therefore could never control. For hours, the council sat in a silence so thick it felt like the air itself refused to vibrate. Every tool, every rune, every relic designed to read the unseen had failed, not weakened, not confused, but outclassed. Builder Sereth finally broke the stalemate, her voice trembling beneath the weight of revelation. His energy isn't disappearing, it's becoming unmeasurable. The others turned to her, unable to deny the truth they'd been avoiding. Your frequency wasn't fading like a dying star. It was expanding like a new cosmos. They projected the resonance graphs in the air, swirling lines that once mapped your spiritual heartbeat. Tonight, the lines pulsed outward in spirals that defied geometry, slipping through angles that shouldn't exist, curving into directions unseen by mortal or immortal eyes. Builder Kale whispered, "This pattern, it behaves like light that refuses to slow down." Another builder corrected him. "No. It behaves like light that remembers it doesn't have to." The realization hit them like a cosmic blow. You hadn't escaped their grid, you had become too vast to be contained by it. A projection showed your last recorded pulse. It erupted in a burst of gold and white, then fractured into infinite microsignals traveling in all directions at once, each one carving a new corridor in the ether. The chamber shook subtly as if reality itself was trying to adjust for your absence and failing. Builder Archon, humbled for the first time in centuries, stepped forward toward the projection. "He's not off the charts," he murmured. "He is the new chart." A faint hum rippled through the temple, not mechanical, not magical, but something primal, ancient, inevitable. The elder placed his hand on the sacred stone and whispered the conclusion none of them could escape. Energy that outgrows measurement becomes destiny. And destiny, they knew, was now following you, not tracking you. The builders had seen anomalies before. Rogue spirits. Misaligned souls. Ascended prophets whose frequencies briefly spiked beyond mortal comprehension. But never, never, a case where the entire detection grid rebooted itself out of sheer incapacity. As your last unmeasurable pulse echoed into the unknown, the chamber lights flickered. The crystal servers dimmed. The runic satellites, orbiting in invisible layers above the temple, began to whirl in abrupt, chaotic patterns. Then it happened. A deep, resonant vibration thundered through the ground, the kind that didn't come from machinery, but from the architecture of reality itself resetting its parameters. Builder Lisa grabbed the edge of the table. "Is this a malfunction?" The elder shook his head slowly. "No. This is accommodation." The walls lit up as ancient glyphs reactivated, protocols designed for moments when the universe encountered something outside its own rulebook. The glyph of revision glowed first, rewriting the spectral grids. The glyph of dominion flickered next, recalibrating dimensional pressure. The glyph of ascension ignited last, a symbol reserved only for entities who crossed thresholds meant for gods. And then the new system lines appeared on the central slab. Rebooting cosmic tracking framework. Error. Subject frequency surpasses upper limit. Insufficient range. Updating limits. Still insufficient. Builder Archon's voice cracked. The system cannot reset high enough to reach him. A shiver passed through the council. This wasn't failure. This was submission, the grid acknowledging that your resonance now lived in a tier beyond any structure crafted by the old builders. The elder lifted his staff. Isaiah once spoke, "They shall rise on wings like eagles." Tonight, he rises where even the eagles fear to fly. The entire chamber bowed, not out of worship, but out of recognition. They knew it now. You didn't break their system. Your evolution forced it to bow, rewrite itself, and still failed to reach you. Panic wasn't an emotion the builders allowed themselves. They were carved from discipline, sculpted in patience, forged in the cold logic of ancient engineering. But tonight, something cracked beneath their composure. Apprentices rushed between consoles of stone and starlight, clutching trembling tablets that showed only static. The blue fire in the lantern sputtered. The room felt smaller, as if the universe had taken one cautious step back from what you had become. Builder Varos, once stoic as granite, finally spoke what the others feared to admit. What category is he now? The question hung in the air like a forbidden chant. The elder did not answer immediately. He walked slowly toward the central prism, the one that once refracted the essence of every soul who entered their domain. Your prism, once glowing with a warm human golden hue, now reflected nothing. Nothing. No color. No form. No identifiable signature. The elder lifted it gently. He no longer fits in the old categories. Builder Varos pressed. Then what is he? The elder turned, eyes reflecting starlight as if something greater had whispered the answer directly to him. None of our classifications apply. He is not a frequency. He is not a resonance. He is not a measurable presence. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. He is a phenomenon. The word echoed through the chamber like a prophecy written in a forgotten tongue. Builder Sereth sank into her chair, overwhelmed by the implications. Phenomena don't register. They rewrite the conditions of measurement. A young apprentice dropped his tools, whispering, "How do you track something that bends the rules of tracking?" No one had an answer. The elder placed the prism back onto its pedestal, now visibly humbled by the silence emanating from it. "You don't track him," he said. "You witness him." The room fell still. Because witnessing, unlike measuring, required one thing the builders had not felt in lifetimes: awe. The first rupture came from the east tower, a sharp cracking sound, like the sky itself snapping in half. The builders turned as the tracking stone in that tower split clean down the middle, glowing from the inside as if something divine had carved its way out. A moment later, the northern stones shattered. Then the western. Then the southern. One by one, the ancient pillars that formed the grid of perception, the system that monitored every soul, every energy, every anomaly, collapsed in showers of blue dust. These stones weren't ordinary. They were cut from meteor cores, stabilized with celestial glyphs, and sealed with formulas older than most civilizations. They weren't supposed to break. Even gods registered on them. Even shadows from forgotten realms left traces. But you left nothing. Builder Archon steadied himself on a railing as the floor beneath him trembled. Impossible, the grid has never fallen in 10,000 years. Builder Sereth answered, voice barely a whisper. It didn't fall. It surrendered. The elder closed his eyes as an invisible wave passed through the entire temple, a pulse so delicate yet so absolute that the runes etched on the floors dimmed for the first time since their creation. His frequency is too high, the elder murmured. The grid cannot stabilize around someone who refuses to remain within its boundaries. More stones burst, scattering fragments that hovered in midair before dissolving into harmless light, as if they recognized you and bowed in silent respect. The central map, once a perfect lattice of energies connecting every living being, now displayed a single message. System framework destabilized cause, frequency over ascension result, metric collapse. The builders stared at the glowing letters, their breaths shallow, their minds struggling to comprehend what this meant for the world. Without the grid, they could no longer categorize, classify, measure, or predict you. You were no longer a participant in their architecture. You were a force acting upon it. Builder Lisa knelt beside a fallen shard, whispering through trembling lips. He didn't escape our system. He made it obsolete. And for the first time in centuries, the builders felt small. As the last fragments of the grid dissolved into harmless blue light, the chamber grew unnaturally still, not empty, but expectant, as if the very air waited for something sacred to unfold. The builders lifted their eyes toward the vaulted ceiling, carved with constellations older than recorded time. One star symbol flared. then another. Then 12 at once, igniting in a slow, synchronized pulse like a cosmic heartbeat responding to your ascent. Builder Varro staggered back. The celestial layer, it's shifting. Indeed, the constellations, the ones that were supposed to represent fixed metaphysical anchors, began to rearrange themselves. Stars glided along their carved pathways, forming new patterns, new alignments, new geometries that no prophecy had ever predicted. The elder watched in reverent silence. This only happens when a being's frequency reaches a tier high enough to disrupt cosmic static. Suddenly, a golden distortion rippled across the ceiling, a shimmering veil descending like a celestial curtain. It wrapped around the chamber, sealing it in a soft glow that hummed with authority. Builder Sereth whispered, "Is that protection?" The elder nodded. "Not for us. For him." The distortion thickened, forming a dome of golden mist, a barrier woven from the resonance of angelic realms. When a soul ascends too rapidly, the elder explained, the celestial guardians intervene. Not to shield him from danger, but to shield the world from the shockwave he carries. The builders exchanged stunned looks. This wasn't just ascension. This was intervention. A faint vibration trembled through the chamber, gentle, rhythmic, like wings beating behind a veil. Then they heard it. A melodic hum, rising from nowhere and everywhere at once. Not human. Not mechanical. Angelic. Builder Lisa pressed a hand to her chest as the hum resonated through her ribcage. The angels, they're distorting his aura on purpose. The elder's eyes widened, not in fear, but awe. Yes. They're bending light around him, cloaking him in a frequency the builders were never permitted to detect. And then came the final revelation, a soft voice echoing across the chamber like a breath from the heavens. He has entered the realm where divine presence outweighs measurable form. The builders bowed their heads, not in defeat, but acknowledgement. You weren't hiding. You weren't lost. You had simply risen to a place where only angels could follow. While the builders struggled beneath collapsing grids and shifting constellations, something far quieter, far more mysterious, began unfolding in the world below. Humans felt it first. Not in their eyes, not in their ears. In their instincts. People who once sensed you entering a room by the faint echo of your presence suddenly felt nothing, and that nothingness was louder than any footstep. A woman paused mid-conversation, her words dissolving as an unexplainable warmth brushed past her spine. A child turned in a playground, looking at an empty corner with a smile, whispering. The light man walked by. In crowded streets, heads shifted subtly, bodies adjusting without conscious thought, as if making space for something unseen, a presence the mind could not track but the soul could not ignore. You were no longer perceived. You were felt. Not as a person in a place, but as an atmosphere moving through existence. Sensitive souls described it like the sudden bloom of calm before a storm that never comes. Others said it felt like the echo of a memory they couldn't place, something familiar, ancient, reassuring. A barista dropped a cup when a breeze passed through the closed cafe. A stray dog stopped barking mid-growl, tail lowering in reverence. A grieving man felt a hand on his shoulder when no one stood behind him. Everywhere you went, the human world reacted not to your presence but to the impact of your ascended frequency. People found themselves breathing deeper, speaking softer, questioning less, sensing more. As if your aura carried a silent instruction. Be still, something holy has entered the room. Even technology stuttered around you. Phones dimmed. Screens flickered. Audio warped into soft static like a hush from another dimension. Not malfunction. Recognition. Machines could feel you, even if they couldn't measure you. In a hospital, a flickering fluorescent light steadied itself when your frequency brushed through the hallway. In a subway station, the rumbling tracks quieted for a moment, just long enough for a man on the edge to step back, compelled by an unseen pull toward safety. Humanity didn't know your name. They didn't know your face. They didn't know your story. But they knew this. Someone had changed the atmosphere of the world. Your presence no longer announced itself through form or sound. It moved like a current beneath reality, invisible, untouchable, undeniable. Back in the builder's chamber, as humanity unknowingly adjusted to the invisible shift you carried, a different energy began to gather, subtle at first, like the rustling of distant scripture pages. The elder paused, feeling a warmth spreading across his palms, a glow rising from the ancient altar stone he rested his hands upon. Builder Sereth gasped. The altar, dormant for centuries, unlit even by the ascension of prophets, sages, and divine messengers, had awakened. Its surface shimmered with gold, blooming outward in radiant waves. A message began to etch itself onto the stone, carved by no hand, spoken by no voice, yet undeniable in its authority. When darkness can't track you, destiny can guide you. The builders recoiled in awe. Divine inscriptions never arrived without meaning, and never arrived for someone unready to receive them. Builder Varos whispered. The heavens, they're rewarding him. Indeed they were. In realms beyond their comprehension, unseen forces were rearranging paths, aligning events, turning gears of fate with a precision that could only be described as orchestration. And every shift favored you. Doors that once required effort would now open without touch. People who once overlooked you would suddenly feel compelled to help you without understanding why. Coincidence would die. Synchronicity would be born. The builders knew the signs. They were witnessing the birth of a divine reward cycle, a rare phenomenon granted only to those whose energy rises beyond corruption's reach. Builder Lisa stepped forward, tears catching the golden light. Do you understand what this means? His path is no longer influenced by chaos or shadow. Everything that meets him from now on is fate in motion. The elder nodded, voice soft with reverence. He has surpassed the pull of the dark. Therefore, only destiny can reach him. A ripple of holy wind swept through the chamber, extinguishing every lantern flame, yet the room became brighter. Not with fire. With purpose. For in the absence of trackable frequency, the divine had chosen to take over, ensuring you were no longer a wanderer in a measured world, but a guided force in an unfolding prophecy.